People who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own.
What do you mean to each their own? How can something be so hard for you to explain, but you have identified as the thing that you're explaining? Hey guys, today it's all about Matt Walsh going to Dr. Phil. They had a great chat about what defines a woman, pronouns and all those gender and sex and everything. And it was interesting. There was a lot of logic against a lot of unique opinions. Okay. So first all we have to start about, hey, let's define what the heck is gender and what the heck is sex from the LGBTQ perspective.
How do you explain the difference between sex and gender?
I consider sex to be our biological makeup. Our chromosomes or hormones, our genitals is a biological makeup. But our gender is more of an internal sense. So think of it like this. Sex is what's between the legs, and gender is what's between the ears, right? It's how we see ourselves on the inside.
And honestly, I think they're explaining it in a very good way. That the sex is on the outside and the gender is on the inside. Just like my Spider-Man suit is on the outside, but what I think in the head without the suit, that's the gender. I mean, I get where you're coming from, and it kind of makes sense from your perspective. Sex is it's my makeup. And I'm like, my sex ain't my makeup. You believe that. Because you already believe you can change it by letting your hair grow longer and everything. And what just surprises me is that you're saying that the gender is the important thing, but it's still important for you for your sex to... Because if your sex... Wait. I got confused. Wait. If your gender is so important, why do you have to change your sex on the outside to represent your gender? Because what's inside is important, right? You're the one changing the one on the outside. And surprisingly, even that isn't enough for you. You want me to identify what you're saying. Because certain people don't even look like the gender on the outside that they're representing on the inside. But I have to play along. And if I don't even play along like in Canada, I might get arrested. And you guys told Jordan Peterson that's not gonna happen. And it did. And here's a good idea how Matt Walsh was explaining in the whole situation, how he approached this and how he talks about it, which is a very interesting thing because I've told a lot of people, but he said it in a more beautiful, articulate way. My way of saying is that if you have a logical way that you think about something, don't try to add logic to their comments or their worldview, because the moment you add logic, it's like you justify it and they're going to be like, oh, you added logic. Now it makes sense. So why don't you accept my opinion? I'm like, whoa. I was talking about, no, we're going to move the goalpost. Don't do that.
The only mistake that somebody on my side of the issue can make, and very often people do make this mistake, in a debate of this kind, is to make the subject seem more complicated than it is, getting lost in the rhetorical weeds and losing sight of the main point. That's where the other side lives. They're out there in the weeds where things are muddy and muddled. They like it out there. They want to obscure the main point, mystifying what is actually quite simple. As long as you refuse to be baited into that trap and you stay on message, on the firm ground of truth and science and common sense, you can have this conversation anywhere with anybody on any platform in front of any audience, and you will walk away the winner every time.
So let's go to the clips.
There should be no construct of gender, just sex. You're either male or female.
Right.
And someone feeling in a mental, emotional way that they don't identify with the sex that they have been biologically created as and assigned at birth based on their genitalia. If they don't feel that way, that there's no construct that describes that, experiences that.
Well, that's got nothing to do with the realities. You can feel however you want. I mean, I could sit here and say that I feel like a tomato plant, but that doesn't mean that I'm actually in those things. So your self-perception, you can have whatever self-perception you want, but you can't expect me to take part in that self-perception or to take part in this kind of charade, this theatrical production. You don't get your own pronouns, just like you don't get your own prepositions or your own adjectives. You know, it's like if I were to tell you, my adjectives are handsome and brilliant. And whenever you're talking about me, you have to describe me as handsome and brilliant because that's how I identify. It makes no sense.
I'm not sure even if I'm going to try that album one time when the debate starts and I'm going to be like, hey man, I'm handsome or whatever. It's like, it's not that I cannot troll people, but I know their response is going to be like, you're only doing that to piss me off. You're doing that to, you're being weird. You're being transphobic. And I'm like, then why should I not be able to think that about you too? Why does the rule only come when you're coming at me, but if I do the same, it's not allowed? You get what I'm trying to say? It's just weird. Because one time I was like in a very hot debate, and this person was identifying as a they. And I was explaining, and I keep hearing, and whenever I said it wrong, I heard someone say they. They. And one moment I just exploded. I said, dude, what's wrong with you? She's a they. I said, I don't care. It's a debate. I'm heated. I can't change something that I've been doing for 40 years. Dude, the fact that you don't even understand that concept surprises me, and I don't even want to say it. And you know what? As a friend, I was saying they for you when we were playing games together because you asked me. As a friend, I did it. But that you went weirdly narcissistic, I'm like, dude, I mean, just because you don't understand where I'm coming from, you shouldn't treat me like a child.
You don't get your own pronouns. That's grammar. That's language.
So you think it's a delusion? Someone is self-delusional.
Yeah, I think it's delusion. It could be mental illness. It could be it's a lot of different things. With children,
Wow.
you know, there's
She is not happy about that. You cannot say mental illness, but okay.
there's also just a basic confusion that all kids have. Like that's why when you hear someone, a parent say, "Oh, my 4-year-old son came to me and said that I'm a girl now, and so that's what I'm gonna raise him as a girl." No, you're a 4-year-old. I have 4 kids. When a 4-year-old boy comes to you and says, "Oh, I'm a girl," here's a good follow-up question: what is a girl?
Yes.
Ask him what he means by that. What do you mean by girl? And when you ask him that, here's what he'll tell you. He will tell you what he really means is that he wants to do some of the things that girls do, like play with the dollhouse, or you know, he likes the color pink. That's fine. Play with the dollhouse. But you're still a boy.
So here is where I have a problem with the LGBTQ about this whole situation. Let me give you a good example. So, my son likes to play with Barbies when he's at the pool because he likes how the hair moves underwater, like it's an octopus or something like that. I don't mind. So if he said to me, for example, I'm a girl, I'm like, why? He says, yeah, because girls play with dolls. I'm like, who told you that? Supposedly the LGBTQ tells me there is no gender, but maybe somebody put that in his head. But if he told me that, I was like, you're not a girl, you're a boy, but you like to play with a girl's hair because it swims, right? He says, yes, it swims like very beautiful, like an octopus. That's it. But it bothers me because my little son, the 3.5 one, he likes pink. And suddenly you go to a school and they dress your son like a princess. I'm like, why would you do that? They would assume that maybe he felt identified with pink, so maybe he felt feminine and he wanted to play like a girl. So they dressed my son like a girl. And I was like, first, you say there's no gender. So pink is a normal color for boys. But now that he likes pink, the first thing you do is try to make him identify with something that is seen by the community as a girl, right? But before you said there is no gender in anything, it's like you're just playing, you're just having fun with me. You're just moving the goalpost to push an ideology. And that's what pisses me, it pisses me off. Because I want you to be happy. But do not include me in that. Do not include everybody. Now we have the school, we have the job, you have everything, man. I can say, you got the rainbow too.
Question I would like to throw out to other members of the panel, actually, because just like the 4-year-old can't answer what is a girl, well, this is one of the problems with this left-wing gender ideology, is that no one who espouses it can even tell you what these words mean. It's like, what is a woman?
Well,
can you tell me what a woman is?
No, I can't. Because it's not for me to say. Womanhood looks different for everybody.
What do you define a woman as?
An adult human female.
And what does a female mean?
Well,
how
that's
do you define a female?
someone with female reproductive organs,
Okay.
Someone who's, here's the thing. When you're female, it goes right down to your bones, your DNA. So that's why if someone dies,
Okay.
we could dig up their bones 100 years from now. We have no idea what they believed in their head, but we can tell what sex they were because it's ingrained in every fiber of their being.
Yes.
So I'm trying to understand. Your definition is that a woman is someone who is female, you said, right?
Correct. Is
Okay.
a biological female.
So what happens if we have maybe someone who is female, identifies as a woman, right? Cisgender woman, right? As you just explained, maybe doesn't have the ability to reproduce.
And I've been in this exact situation. And I was like, it's not that you're not going to reproduce. If you just have the tool, we're going to let the tool decide what you wore. It doesn't have to work. Because by your definition, any moms that her breast or whatever is not working because a lot of mom is having issues with her baby to give breast, a lot more, because as a dad, I've seen a lot. I'm not going to go to those moms and say, you know what, you're not a mom. That doesn't define it for me. Okay? I'm not saying, look, man, if you're a Toyota, right, but you believe you're a monster truck, Gucci, you be you. I'm not going to judge the Toyota. If you think you're a monster truck, go crush the cars. It's okay. But the fact that something ain't working, I'm not going to be like, hey, man, I guess you're not dead. If I have a knife and it's like old and rusty, I'm not going to be, this is not a knife. If it's there and it's not working, that doesn't mean you're not a woman.
Well, maybe it doesn't have those organs that you're talking about that are reproductive organs.
I have answered the question. You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not
But
myself.
you used the word. So what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right. So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman.
Oh.
Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people
That
who
describes what?
people who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own.
What do you mean to each their own? How can something be so hard for you to explain, but you have identified as the thing that you're explaining? I don't get that. Why is it so muddy and confusion? Is it as if you don't even know how to define it in a perfect way because you want everybody to be able to identify as something that you can't explain. But you want me to confirm that identity or you're gonna snip yourself. But then again, you're gonna tell me it's not the sex that defines you because you don't have the tools that we were talking about, right?
Each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity and define it differently.
That doesn't-
And so
I'm not
trans
asking for
women are women too.
Okay.
And you want to hold on.
Say it again. Trans women are women. What you won't even tell me what the word means, though. So
you
that's
want to
the
reduce
problem.
women, you want to reduce men down to maybe just their genetics, our genitals,
No.
our chromosomes, right? That's what you're
What
saying.
you want to
is that
do is
that's what we are at the end of
what
the
you
day.
want to do is appropriate women. You want to appropriate womanhood
Okay.
and turn it into basically a costume that can be worn.
I feel very offended actually the way she was describing that because if you see many of my aunties, they like to eat. The outside of them, not most of them, they don't have like a gangster feminine look, especially at the age they are at. But how they put the makeup, how they want to look beautiful, they look feminine to me, not in an Instagram way, but they're feminine. I don't know what you want. Because there are certain people that are happy with their body and they can express it in a feminine way. And they might find somebody that finds it sensually attractive. That is enough. But I see a lot of people, they don't feel that. They're like, hey man, if I can't compete with these people, I need to compete like the other one because that is like a more identifiable for me. Oh my God, I don't even have to be the masculine or the feminine. I can just make one. I don't know. I mean, there are certain people that have been identifying as a man just because it felt safer, because they were a woman. That has happened. But now even psychologists don't even want to say anything about it. You know why? Because if they say, they can cancel and you will lose your license before being transphobic. Everybody that has a different opinion has to be anonymous.
There's biological sex and then there is gender identity. Part of me wants to ask why you care so much because it's really not that big of a deal.
Can I answer that? I'd love to answer that question. I care about the truth. So basic truth matters. I want to live in a society where people care about the
fine.
truth and we're grounded in truth.
All right.
I care about children, and these insane ideas
do
about
too.
gender are being foisted on kids, and that bothers me quite a bit. I care about the women who are having their opportunities stolen from them.
Yeah, certain people care because you have people, men, swimming since they're 8 years old. 17. Hey, I identify as a woman. Does the change? Gonna do the transitioning. Not even a year has passed or something close around that. Okay, kinda cool. And guess what? She's breaking all the records. Everybody's like, oh my God, no, I have no chance. The girls are like, hey man, I have no chance, but if I open my mouth, I have to be anonymous because it can affect me in the long run. It's not freaking fair. I don't understand. And now you have a trans man that cuts away her boobies, starts swimming, and she starts beating. And I'm like, wait. The trans woman can swim with woman. The trans man is swimming with woman. But I delayed my transitioning. But you don't even start? Because you have a body that looks more like a man. I don't know. It's not clear. But it would not surprise me if they just push it and keep their mouth shut because they have an ideology to empower other people that might identify as them. And I get it. You want to push people to feel comfortable to do weird things. Then make a league for trans people. Or you have this girl at a school, goes to the bathroom, there's another man, but she's a girl also, I identify like a girl, goes at her, gives her her first funky experience, and not in number 1 to have a baby, in number 2. Kinda gangster. What are we gonna do about it? The father goes to the school. Where's the boy? Where's the boy? There's no boy. Nothing happened. And then they find out it did happen. They try to hush, keep it in the down low. The father complained at a meeting at the school. He got beaten up, arrested. And then they used that moment, the picture that he was beaten up, to justify, hey, white supremacy. Oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? Do you know how bad you feel as a father that you couldn't even protect your daughter? And when you ask them for more information, they can't say anything because they're afraid to offend people. Come on, man. It's all interconnected, and that's why people are getting angry, frustrated that you want to normalize it for something that you can't even define because you are afraid to offend other people in your own league. That's why it's so difficult to even help you. Anyway, man, it's just something that I thought it was kind of frustrating, but more people are speaking out to this situation. But let me know what you guys thought is about it. I think it's frustrating. When it's about kids, I'm not very happy about it. Let's just say that. Okay? I think it's a serious matter and we need to help people with this situation, but not at the cost of other people. Right? Anyway, hit the like button, share, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And see you guys next time. Peace.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam turloqueta verdeta welcome. Den vida mi a tu iniciativa, padrei ku indica e também que sum sativa. Te ainda no que acepta ku eta medicina Bob di nang di eta causa rebeldia. Cooking.